Hi there, it's Tracy here from the Papercraft Studio. Thank you for joining me today. This is probably my last video of the year actually. This is my Window Wishes Tea Light Christmas card. So it's going to stand up like that. And if I turn my lights out here a sec, you'll see, let's get my little tea light, so there's lots of shadows there. Hopefully you'll be able to see how cute that is. It's really hard to show on video unless I move my camera, which isn't that easy, but you can see there a little flickering tea light behind. So let's put these lights back on. It makes such a difference. So you're going to need a little fake tea light for obvious reasons. Don't use a real one. Should I prop it up like that, or should I lay it down? Let's lay it like that. You're going to need from the 12 by 12 basic white, you need a piece of 12 by 4 basic white cardstock. You need a piece of real red that measures 3 3/4 by 1 1/2, a piece of basic white which measures 3 1/2 by 1 1/4, another piece of basic white which measures 2 1/4 by 1, and then you need also a piece of vellum. If I've got mine here, I think I have. That measures 2 1/2 by 3 1/2, and then you need some basic white cardstock for doing. We've got quite a lot of stamping to do, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to bring in my scoreboard and hit my light. Sorry, I know it's a bit echoey when I do that. So you need to score on the long side at 4 1/4 and at 8 1/2. Okay, so that's all the scoring we need. Put that back. Now, probably before we fold, it's probably easier if we cut this little window aperture from under here. So I'm using the Window Wishes dies and stamp set. Let me get that for you here. Again, I don't know if it's still, I've got little red dots everywhere. I don't know if it's still available. I think the stamp set might be. I'm not sure about the dies. But I managed to get them, way back because I had this in mind before. So it's this one here that we're going to use to cut that first window shape. So, and then we're going to emboss it with a brick embossing folder. So these two sections are the same size. This is shorter, so that's going to be the one that tucks underneath. So we want to use the bigger one here. Actually, maybe I will fold it just so you can see where I'm going. That. Okay, so that's how it's going to go. So this is the first of the same size, this is the second of the same size, this is the shorter one underneath, and it's going to stand like that. So up nearish this score line, but not quite to the top, about there, we're going to cut this little window aperture. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that and come back to you. So I use washi tape. You could use a post-it just to pin it in place, because obviously we want to get this quite straight and central if we can. About there, I think. Maybe this washi tape's been used time and again, so it's probably losing its stick a bit, but I'm going to go ahead and just cut that. I'll be right back. Okay, so gently peel away your washi. Sometimes it can rip the card if you're a bit rough with it. So we're going to use this little bit inside to do some stamping on, so we won't waste that, to poke out the other bits. Okay, so I'm just going to put this away so I don't lose it. Okay, next we need to cut, oh, that's lucky it's going to fit that way, this window frame. So again, I'm just going to cut this, and again we can use that inside piece to stamp on. Oh, I've got my take your pick tool stuck on some terry tape. Okay, so poke this one out, and this frame doesn't fit perfectly round, as in tight to that window frame. There's meant to be a border around. Okay, so don't worry, that's how it's meant to be. Right, so we're going to emboss the brickwork. I don't know if you can see that, but see here we just got brickwork on this one. So I've left the back, and this one looks got all ink on it, plain, but yeah, I just wanted some on there. So this is the brick embossing folder. I think it might have brick something embossing folder. Got all my little gems stuck to everything. I've been doing this in classes, and all the little gems have stuck to it. Okay, so I'm going to slide this end in, and you want the Stampin' Up logo facing upwards, and if you do it just to that line and fold it under, it's going to leave a ridge there. Okay, so you need to have just slightly over that that score line, and try and make sure your bricks are kind of straight. Make sure you got it in the right way so your bricks are going across, and then go ahead and emboss that one. Okay, so that's how I put it through the embossing machine. So you had quite a lot kind of sticking out and just a bit we wanted here. I don't know if mine's gone, yeah, slightly skew. That's fine. It's an old building. Let's call it an old building, and that's that. Okay, so let's put that to one side. Okay, so gently fold that again. Oh, that doesn't show at all. That's fine. Oops, rhinestone stuck everywhere. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and stick this window frame on, and I've used the adhesive strips. You get more than this. You get 2 lots of sort of wider strips, and you can go around and just take off little bits and stick them around each section. It doesn't have to go, actually let's make sure, I want it on the back. It doesn't have to go on you know, fully round, but just a bit on each side. And if you've got this in a kit from me, I've popped a couple of strips of this in that you just need to cut. I gave you 2 full strips, so they come in 2 halves like that, so it's more than enough to go round. With the top as well, you can whoops, I'm trying to get that off the backing. You can actually bend it slightly to go round, sort of like to follow the edge round. Now, depending on how high you cut this piece here, it may show over the top. My original does. I'm really not worried about that because nobody's looking at the back. You see that bit of tape, the adhesive there. So yeah, as long as it doesn't show from the front, I'm really not concerned about that. So last piece on. Oh, has that stopped that piece? I think I've got an edge piece here. Okay, yeah, so these are really handy. They're really handy under letters and things like that. Small dies. Move that one in a little bit. Okay, and before I take the backing off, I'll just show you how I stuck it on. So have a little look before you do take it off, but you'll see I started kind of from one end and then just kind of gently rolled it down. So you can start at the bottom or the top. It's quite hard just to place it over and get it because this is springing up. So that's the way I found easiest to do. So all of these backings off. And then I'm just going to turn it sideways so I can get a better view of where I'm going. So, you know, as middly as you can get it. Don't worry if it's not perfect. So there we have it. That's not too bad actually. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp a couple more bits here. I'm going to use this bit that I cut the first bit off. I'm using shaded spruce ink. I don't use that very often actually. I guess Christmas is a good time to use it. And this is the really big kind of over the door or over the window wreath image. And it can go straight over the top here, but I wanted mine, I wanted to have something here. But I'll show you as well how I cut that, but also how some of my ladies also put a bit at the top. So I'll show you, so you have an option, but you want that really well inked up. Okay, I'm going to leave that out because we're going to need it again in a bit. Fit that way. Yeah. So really push this one down well because obviously it's quite a big stamp. You could use your stamp apparatus for this. Okay. And then there is a die to cut this out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that one. Mine, for some reason, doesn't stretch quite far enough. It's not quite lined up. So I'm doing the best I can when I'm cutting it out here. But I don't know if that's just, it didn't quite line up on all of them, or if it's just my die here, but actually the results absolutely fine, so I'm not concerned about that. So back in a sec. Okay. So what I did with mine here is there's a couple of points here where it goes in slightly, here and here. So I snipped mine there. It just came in either side. Where is it? About here. Either side, just into a little point, to get those two little bits to make the little wreath at the bottom here. So that is two of these stuck together, and these little red dots, they hide the join. So do that on both sides. So again, just find where it kind of goes into a bit of a point. So we'll do it about here. I want to make it fairly even in case you want to use that top one, about here. So what some of my ladies chose to do was to put that on and then move the wreath down. So they've got these two bits plus this bit over the top. So up to you if you do that or not. You could just have the wreath there like I have, or you could use that extra bit, but I'm not actually going to use that bit. I'm just going to use these two here. So I'm going to leave those to one side for a sec and stamp the wreath while I've got this ink out. So again, the wreath is in shaded spruce. Oops, I should have just put that down. And then while I'm here, I'm going to stamp the house and the roof and the trees. Actually, the trees are in shaded spruce as well, so let's just bring that back. So on this bit that we cut out from the window is a good bit to stamp all these other elements, so you're not wasting your extra cardstock. Okay, so here I've got a roof, a house and some trees. So the house I'm stamping in Balmy Blue. You could just stamp all these in black if you wanted, just to get the silhouette behind. I'm going to ink this quite well because I think I need to re-ink my my stamp ink pad, sorry. Okay, yes I do. So pretend that came out really well. What's that one? We've used a lot of ink in class this month, so I need to go around and re-ink various ones. Smoky Slate for the roof. I'm just spreading these out a bit because I want to cut these. Oh, come on, Tracy. Oh dear. You will stamp these better than me. And then shaded spruce for the trees. And actually, if you don't, one, it doesn't matter because it's behind vellum, but also you can just go over with a right marker if you've got one. Which of these? So I've got Smoky Slate here. I could just kind of colour in that bit. Mine are probably a bit old now. Use this end and just colour in that bit if I wanted to, but it's not essential. I'm not really too worried, but let's get the Balmy Blue one and just fill in that little bit as well, because I would actually quite like to send this card. So and because it's behind the vellum, it's not really going to show that much, but there we go, as if nothing's happened. So my tip for when you're cutting all of these again is washi tape or Post-it or something, because I like to cut them all at one time and they'll just jump around a bit. So just find a couple of points where you can put some washi on. I don't like to go too far over the image because sometimes it can rip the paper if you're not too careful. So just line them up as best you can and then pop them through the cutting machine. Like I say, if you do them all in one go, obviously it saves your arm when you're winding them through. So wreath as well. With the wreath, it may be worth marking your stamp if you're going to make a lot of these, but just move this around until you find the best fit, which is that one, I think. It's quite easy to find. Pin that on. And then what's the last thing? The house. You get so many dies with these. It's a great set. So a bit more washi. check if I'm still in shot actually. Here we go. So obviously take your time lining yours up. So I'm going to run all those through the machine and I'll be right back. Okay. So pop all of these out. Roof. Put those back in the dies in a sec. And then your wreath as well. There we go. Perfect. Right. There's only one more thing to cut in a minute now. Should I show you that now? Actually, I will do. That was the small piece of cardstock that I'm just looking for now. Oh, here it is. So this was the 2 1/4 by 1 inch of the basic white, and this is to cut on the back here the little snowdrift. Okay, so you don't obviously see this kind of stuff, but it's this little snowdrift that the house and the trees are sitting on. And so I've taken one of these little wiggly dies, and how I lined it up on here, I put one near at the top here, and it just about fits across to create that little slope. Okay, so again, just going to cut that. I think that's all the cutting done now, and if it doesn't quite go edge to edge, just give it a little snip here and here, and there's your little slope, your little snowdrift. Okay, so I think that is all the die cutting now. So with the house, you can see on here I've coloured in the windows a little, what did I do? So saffron, I think, dark so saffron, little blend. So yeah, and I really wasn't too neat. I just scribbled in all of these, because, you know, it's meant to be flickering light anyway. They're using way too much electricity in this house. They've got all their lights on. The price of it at the moment is going to cost them a fortune. Okay. Right. So this is all ready to put together now. With the Merry Christmas, I've embossed this in gold. So I'm going to just do that now as well. So we've got everything ready to layer up. So always when you're embossing, it's best to use an embossing buddy just to take off any little bits of dust or static on here. It looks like it's putting more down actually than I'm taking off. There we go. So you need a Versamark ink, and I'm using the Merry Christmas here from it was one of the greetings, Christmas lights, or it was in that suite. I can't remember quite what it's called now, but it's from a different set, but I wanted something to kind of stretch across there. So it's a sticky ink, it's a watermark ink, but it's great for embossing here. So I'm going to come down here and stamp it because I don't want to get my head in. Okay, press hard, and then you probably won't be able to see that right now, but there is some clear sticky ink on there. And then I'm going to get my gold embossing powder and just shake it across here. And you know, embossing is really magical. If you haven't done it before, do have a go. So Stampin' Up sell these embossing powders. They come in sets of 3. There's a metallics, gold, bronze and silver, and then there's white, clear and black. And you need a heat tool. You can't do it with a hairdryer, it just doesn't get hot enough on there. And you can see here I've got a little few bits of extra. I tend to just go over with my take your pick tool, but you can use a little paintbrush. And in fact, there's a set in the autumn winter catalogue which is just a little embossing set that you could, it's got a little brush in there, but I forgot to get mine out, so I'm just going to carefully take these bits off. But be really careful with this if you do it, because you don't want to scratch away any of the actual greeting. I think this is the kind of thing, the more you do, the more you see. So I'm going to stop there. Okay, So you might want to turn your volume down for a second because this is going to get a little loud with the heat embossing tool. I'm just going to bring in this bit of cardboard just to use so that my grid paper doesn't kind of jump up when I'm doing this. And I'm just going to use my Take Your Pick tool to pin it down. So again, might be a little bit noisy, but watch the magic because it's, I love it. So very dull at the moment. And then this is what happens. Takes a while because I haven't used this. It's not hot yet, but you can see, hopefully, the difference there. It starts to come to life. I just love heat embossing. You just have to make sure that you cover all of it. If it's a bit dull at this end. How gorgeous is that? Love, love, love. Okay. So you can see that's gone from being very dull to very sparkly. So these two, the trouble is you do get a bit powdery under here, are going to layer on top of each other with dimensionals because we need that height to catch this to make it stand up. Okay, so let's pop some dimensionals on there, on the back of here. So you need to be fairly generous to keep them balanced. So one in each corner and then one either side of the middle here. Okay, so take these off, backings. I always like to do a tea light if I can around Christmas and a tea light card, and I try and mix it up because a lot of my ladies have been coming to class for a long time, so you know I don't want to repeat the same one each year. Whoops. So you're going to hover over this as best you can and get it central, and then again we're going to put some more on the back, so the same kind of thing here. Apologies if you can hear my girls chattering away in the background. They do know I'm filming, but either forgotten or don't think they're being very loud. Right, so backing's off here. And then you're going to put it down. So this one's the one that stands up with the embossed bit here. So this goes down here. And you want a fairly even border down the bottom there. Okay, so that's how that's going to stand up. And don't worry if it doesn't. You can see mine's falling over because you just reinforce, particularly this score line at the bottom. And then that will stand up and catch under there. Okay, where are we up to? Let's put our vellum on the back, I think. So now it's a bit see-through and I can't see where mine's gone. Oh, here it is. Okay, so you want to cover that area there, but obviously you don't want to get any glue in the middle. So you can either put some glue down these two sides right to the top, or you can put a glue dot in each corner or some glue. So if you want to put glue dots in each corner, absolutely fine. But just whichever you choose to do, don't put too much of anything down. So I'm going to put some glue in each corner. I don't want it too near the edge. And I'm going to run a really thin line down each side here. But like I say, if you're not confident not to get too much out, then just stick with the glue dots in the corners or some glue in the corner. And then just, it doesn't have to be perfectly central, but make sure you're covering all of that section on the back. Okay, now I'm going to flip this over, and these were sadly discontinued last year, but if you do still have one, these little chalk markers are great just for adding a bit of snow. I'm just going to check which one of mine works best because, like I said, they're a little bit old from last year. This one, but it does create really nice little snow. So if I put something underneath here, you might see the snow happening. So you're just, and I wouldn't because you can, you know, end up with big splodges. Just gently, and try and make them random, which is actually quite hard when you're trying to. So just some little dots of snow on here. I'm so sad they discontinued them, but I know a lot of you will have them. Oh, there we go. Okay. If you don't, it will still look lovely without, but that just adds a little. So leave that to dry for a second. And then we'll work on these other bits here. So like I said, if you wanted to have that other piece of the wreath up here, go ahead, but I'm just going to stick this one on. So decide which way around you want your wreath. It doesn't really matter. And put a bit of glue or tape on the bit that you're going to stick to the top of the window frame. So I'm going to stick that in the center on there. And if you want to, you can put a mini dimensional underneath here to stop it falling backwards, because it won't show from this side. I've still got mine out here. Couldn't see my take a pic tool then. I use it, didn't I, to pin down the embossing, the heat embossing. Right, let's take one of those. So I'm just going to take the backing off there as well. A little bit fiddly, and I'm just going to pop it underneath here so that I know it's not going to show, and just maybe stick it down like that. I don't think I did it on this one, so you don't have to, and you might want to stack two up actually to get it to the right level, but anyway, I'm going to leave mine like that now. And with these little pieces here, I've got my other one. Oh my gosh, everything's going. I wonder if the heat embossing tool blew it away. Okay, maybe I'll come back to that piece. Oh, here it is. So with these two, just arrange them down here. And like I say, you're going to put some red dots on here, so then it's not going to show the join there. So a little bit of glue, not right to the edge. I would just put it kind of under this central bit here, because that's kind of where it's going to be. And I'm going to work quite quickly here because I want to be able to move them if I want to. But yeah, you can overlap them a bit if you want to, but yeah, I had a little bit of time just to move those around, and then they'll be stuck in place. Not sure if I like that stuck down, but anyway, it's done. Okay, so the snowdrift and the little bits on the back come next. So with the roof of the house, you've got a really small bit to stick. So you're basically hovering that over the top and then just sticking one to the other. So I would go around the very edge of the roof, but just teeny tiny bit of glue. So if you're not confident, put some on a scrap, and then you know, transfer some on with the tip of your glue. But I'm saying this now, or you can do little dots along, but really just along this bottom edge. You could, I don't know, I'm thinking adhesive sheet, but not really, because you don't want the whole thing. So yeah, it's just, or the fine tip glue pen, that would be a good one. Now I'm going to put something underneath me now, because I don't want to get stuck to my grid there for a second. So that one up that way, roof going on. And again, this is going to be behind this vellum, so you're not going to see if you haven't got it perfectly in place here, but I'm quite happy with that. I'm just going to flip mine over because the glue's a bit wet still on that side. Now with this sort of kind of snowdrift here, you can put it as high up or as low as you want, but you need to leave enough space to be able to put some tape or glue along the bottom. So I would say, you know, no higher than that really. And what you want to do is to stick your house and your trees on there, but you need to be able to see where you're going with that. So I'm going to leave this down here, maybe put that bit of cardboard under here again, just so you can see what I'm doing. So I need to be able to know that I've got enough to stick down the bottom here, but also I don't want the trees in the house to go too wide, otherwise they're not going to show. So the house will go on this little bit of the drift here. You see it's got a slanted base, so you're going to stick the house onto that bit, but come in a little bit, and you're going to stick the trees on here. But again, don't go too far out. You just want to check that it's still going to be in view. I might move my trees over a little bit. You want to make sure they're going to be in view when you stick it all on in a second. So again, a little bit of glue along the bottom of the house. and that's going to sit just on that drift there. Oops, oh, I should have come in a bit, shouldn't I? There we go. Don't want it right on the edge. And then again, on the base of the trees, and just make sure you come in slightly from the edge. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't matter if you don't see the whole house. Mine doesn't show on that one, but you want to see, obviously, you know, a fair bit of it. So the trees, I'm going to come down a little bit lower and come across like that. So have a quick look there, and that's going to get plenty in for me. So next thing, flip this over once you know it's all in place, and you can put some tape or glue along here, not too high up, because you need to make sure it's not going to show when you do hold on, no, we're sticking it to the front, sorry. We're going to put a bit of glue down here, so you don't want anything to come down too far, because this now has to stick to this piece here. Okay, so pick this up if I haven't got it stuck. So sorry, we're doing the glue on the front, not on the back, and you're going to slide this into place where you can see all of those little elements, and then once you're happy with where you've got it, just press it down on the back, and you can go back and put a little glue dot or a little bit more glue under those bits that are popping up on the edges. I'm going to get a glue dot. Really don't know where my take a picture went. But seriously, if you can see any more of my desk, you'd understand why I've lost it here. And the glue dots. Here they are. Come on. Okay, so I'm going to pop the glue dot. Again, you don't want it to show, but it's just to pin this a bit more in place under here. So I'm just going to slide it. I can see I'm still on the bit that doesn't show, but that's just bringing that down. And then I'm going to pop one probably under this bit of the roof, and again, it won't show. So anything on this side people aren't going to see, so don't worry if it looks a bit messy. If you are going to send it, you probably want to make sure there's no glue or glue dots kind of, you know, still sticky on this side. So there we have it there. And then when we put our little lamp under, it looks, can't see really because the lights are on, but it looks super cute. It's going to shine through like that. Okay, where are we up to? So we've got our Merry Christmas on. So we need to do some, we need to do this little bit here. So I've got some red glimmer paper, and we're going to cut the little bow. So you can see I've been cutting some anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And if you don't have the glimmer paper, just do, you know, real red, whichever red you're using, because it will still look really pretty. And then just pop these middle bits out of the loops here. And I've just used a rolled up glue dot on the back here in the center just to stick that on. So cute. And then we need the real red rhinestones. I really need to find my take a picture. I'm going to grab one over here where I want them to be. So I'm going to dot them around the wreath. So I'm going to start at the bottom there just so that I can get them quite even, and just go round and pop them roughly in the same place on each side. Makes such a difference. I love these. Cute. You could pop one in the center if you wanted to, but it doesn't really show, to be honest. And then I'm going to put a little trio here, and it's just going to cover that join perfectly there. And I've got a little extra bit on here. Anything else? I think oh, a couple of little these are from the Festive Pearls. Just wanted to pop some on here to show the gold as well, just to mirror image that. And there we have it. It's a long one, but it's a good one. I hope you'll agree. My window wishes tea light Christmas card. Merry Christmas. I hope you have a fantastic time with you and your family. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you in the new year. Thank you for supporting me. Take care. See you soon. Bye.